Students, this is your Pallavi ma'am. I hope everyone is doing well. So here again I am with a new video, that is peroxide effect or Karash effect. I thought of doing this concept in a separate video. Why? Because this concept is very important for the competitive exam, even for the theory as well. Okay, even in a CET and NEET, the questions might appear from this part. So I thought of doing this concept separately. Okay. So this peroxide effect or Karash effect can also be known as the anti-Markovnikov rule. So in my previous video, while discussing about the preparation of haloalkanes by alkene, okay, so by the hydrohalogenation of alkene results in the formation of a haloalkane. So that we have discussed, and I gave some example regarding that one. Okay, so if you want to check, just check my previous video about the methods of preparation of haloalkanes and the haloarenes. Okay, here see we have a propene. Okay, when this propene is treated with hydrogen bromide, okay, the hydrohalogenation takes place. That results in the formation of haloalkanes. But when the unsymmetric alkene comes over here, what do you mean by unsymmetric? Yes, so on either side of the double bond we have a different number of carbon atoms that are nothing but what? Unsymmetric. When this unsymmetric alkene is treated with a hydrogen bromide or hydrohalogenation is carried out to this unsymmetric alkene, we will going to get a two product. Okay, that is, one is 2 bromopropane, one is 1 bromopropane. Okay, in the absence of this catalyst, listen carefully, in the absence of this catalyst, if I carry out hydrobromination to the propene, I will going to get 2 bromopropane and the 1 bromopropane, and the 2 bromopropane will be the major product. Okay, why? Because it will going to follow, or hydrohalogenation of alkene will follow Markovnikov rule. What is that Markovnikov rule? The negative part of the adding molecule will add to the carbon containing least number of hydrogen atom. That is Markovnikov rule. Okay, where in the absence of this catalyst or in the absence of a light. Okay, and the mechanism that is followed here is electrophilic addition mechanism. Very important, electrophilic addition mechanism, where in the absence of, repeatedly I am telling, in the absence of this catalyst, okay, electrophilic addition mechanism will going to follow. So we will going to get a secondary carbocation as a stable one. For that reason we will going to get this 2 bromopropane as the major product. Fine. Now the question comes, if I want to carry out the same reaction in presence of this benzoyl peroxide, what is this? In presence of this benzoyl peroxide or light, okay, we will not going to get the expected answer, or we will not going to get the expected product. Okay, here what you going to get? 1 bromopropane as the major and 2 bromopropane as the minor. Okay, repeating, 1 bromopropane comes as the major and 2 bromopropane comes out as the minor product, which is against the Markovnikov rule, right? Okay, so this effect is known as a peroxide effect or Karash effect. The reaction will take place in such a way that it is due to the presence of this peroxyl what we are using. So that's why the name peroxide effect or against the Markovnikov rule. Now, why it's supposed to happen like this? Why it happens? It's because in the absence of benzoyl peroxide, the mechanism is electrophilic addition. But when I use a benzoyl peroxide over here, the mechanism followed will be free radical mechanism. Means the reaction takes place, or this free radicals or 2 bromopropane as a major product is formed by the free radical mechanism. That free radical mechanism we have studied in the first year, right? Yes. So this is what, in presence of a benzoyl peroxide, the reaction takes place under free radical. The question might appear from this part. peroxide effect will takes place from which mechanism? There will be a four options like electrophilic addition mechanism or free radical or substitution like that. So the answer will be free radical mechanism. Okay, yes. Now how the reaction will going to take place, I have explained here. Okay, so please do concentrate, because for the competitive exam this Karash effect or the peroxide effect is very important. Now when it comes to the free radical mechanism, that it involves three steps. One will be an initiation step, one will be the propagation which continues the chain, and the third will be the termination which will going to stop the reaction, right? So here I have written the mechanism. So what happens in the initiation step? See, these two are the initiation step here. Okay, so this is a general representation I have taken for the peroxide representation. Okay, this is called either alkoxy peroxide or aryl oxy peroxide. Here what happens, this, let us consider aryl oxy peroxide will undergo homolytic fission, means the bond will break equally here. Okay, when the bond breaks equally or homolysis takes place, what will going to get? Obviously we will going to get the free radical. So one electron from this bond will move on this oxygen and one more electron will move here. So that results in the formation of what? Two aryl oxy or alkoxy free radical will be formed. That is the initiation step. Okay, so next what happens, this free radical formed, okay, will attack the HBr, bond, so that this HBr bond will break equally, okay, by the homolytic fission. Hydrogen will form free radical and bromide will become another free radical. Okay, so that results in the formation of a alcohol and bromide free radical. Okay, this is the initiation step. Next, in the propagation step, what happens, this bromide free radical which is formed in the initiation step will try to attack the double bond of the alkene. Okay, so when it attacks, so here what happens, the primary free radical formed, okay, will attack the HBr bond again, and this will undergo homolytic fusion, and the hydrogen free radical formed will combine with the CH to form 1-bromopropane as the major product. Okay, and even this step is exothermic in nature. So both the propagation steps that are involved in the presence of HBr are exothermic in nature, okay, which favors the reaction. For that reason, what happens, we will going to get a 1-bromopropane as the major. Okay, this is about the peroxide effect or the Karash effect. What is the reason of getting 1-bromopropane as the major? It is because the free radical that is formed by the propagation step, among that the primary free radical is more stable than the secondary free radical. That is the main reason. Clear? Yes, students. So we completed how exactly the anti-Markovnikov rule or how the peroxide effect or the Karash effect will going to take place. So listen carefully here. Each and every steps play a very important role. Okay, for your competitive exam, you need to concentrate on each point what I have explained. Okay. Now another part of this peroxide effect is that here I have explained by taking the HBr. So in your mind the question might appear, if I try to carry out the same reaction, okay, instead of HBr, if I take HCl, if I take HF and if I take HI, okay, whether these three hydrogen halides will undergo peroxide effect or not. So for that answer it is no, means when HBr is treated with a propene, it undergo against the Markovnikov rule, so you are going to get a stable product like this. Okay, and it will going to happen by the free radical mechanism. Okay, so but when I treat HCl, when I take a HCl over here, when I carry out the same reaction in presence of a benzoyl peroxide, whether I'm going to get the same reaction or the same product what I got for the HBr presence? No. so it will not going to follow the peroxide effect. So there might be some reason why it will not going to happen. So just listen, these steps or these reasons are very important. In your competitive exam, such questions might be asked based on that one. Okay, so I'll just going to explain one by one, and before that I'll just give you the condition here that for the free radical mechanism, concentrate, for the free radical mechanism, both the propagation steps should be an exothermic in nature. Both the steps should be exothermic so that it will going to favor the reaction. It will going to make a stable reaction. Okay, both the step of the propagation should be exothermic. This is the condition. Okay, now here what happens, if I take HCl over here, okay, I'll go one by one. If I take HCl over here, we know that HCl and the HF bond dissociation enthalpy are more compared to HI and HBr. Okay, means in order to break the HF bond, I need to provide more energy. At the same time, in order to break the HCl bond, I need to provide more energy. Okay, so here what happens in the propagation step? Okay, so in the propagation step, what happens? This step which will going to takes place, Cl free radical will be formed. That free radical will form, like will try to react with this propene, and there is a formation of a two free radical. One will be a primary and the secondary, and the first step of that reaction will be exothermic in nature. Means yes, the energy will be released. But when it comes to the second step of the propagation, okay, so I'm explaining about HCl over here. When I take a HCl over here, being a strong bond, the bond will not break easily. Okay, for that reason, in order to break this bond, I need to provide energy. So this step will become what? Endothermic in nature. Endothermic in nature, which will not going to favor the free radical mechanism. So for that reason, HCl will not undergo peroxide effect. Okay. Similarly, the same concept might be applied for the HF as well. HF is a stronger bond compared to HCl. Here also what happens? The first step of the propagation step is exothermic, but the second step what happens here will again, we can't break the HF bond very easily. So the step means we need to provide energy to break the HF bond. So the reaction step will become endothermic. Endo means we need to provide energy. Exo means the energy is released because of the breaking of the bond. Okay. So here what happens, this will become an endothermic reaction. For that reason, it will not going to favor the free radical mechanism. So in turn, it will not going to follow the peroxide effect. Okay, that is how it will going to happen. But when it comes to HI bond dissociation enthalpy is very less. Right? HI bond dissociation enthalpy is very less. So HI is a very weak bond. So I agree. But yes, here what happens in the first propagation step, iodine free radical will be formed. That is quite easy. Okay, since the bond breaks very easily, iodine free radical will be formed. But what happens is iodine free radical formed in presence of benzoyl peroxide, okay, will get oxidized. This iodine free radical formed will get oxidized by the benzoyl peroxide and combines with another iodide free radical that results in the formation of iodine. Okay, results in the formation of iodine. So it will going to stop the reaction there only. So that is why these three will not undergo Karash effect or peroxide effect. Even I can explain that by giving a enthalpy value over here. See, the table explains the hydrogen halides of all the four. Okay, delta H value and here also delta H value. Okay, so these two are what? The propagation step. Okay, these two are propagation step. So what is the condition I gave for the free radical mechanism to happen? Both the propagation steps should be exothermic. Exothermic means the energy is released over here. Whenever we will say energy is released, delta H is negative. We will represent. This is very important. Delta H is negative means energy is released. If delta H is positive, energy is absorbed. Okay. So here what happened? The first step is that the free radical will attack the carbon-carbon double bond and it forms a free radical. That is the first step, okay, propagation step. In the second propagation step, what happens? The free radical formed will attack the hydrogen halide bond and a stable compound will be formed, okay. So here what happens in case of HF, the first step of the propagation will have a enthalpy minus 45, means it is exothermic in nature, yes. But the second step is what? The HF bond is not broken very easily. So we need to provide energy, so it will become endothermic, which will not going to favor the reaction, okay. Similarly, when it comes to HCl, okay, here what happens? Again, the first step is like a exothermic and the second step being a strong bond, I can't break the bond very easily, so I need to provide a energy over here. This will also become endothermic, which will not go into favor the free radical mechanism, and this will also not follow Karash effect, okay. But when it comes to HBr, which we already studied, this bond is a little bit weak compared to HF and HCl, so both the step will form the exothermic and it favors the Karash or the peroxide effect. But when it comes to HI, also the bond is weak. Here what happens? The first step being a very weak bond, it becomes endothermic in nature. To carry out the reaction, we need to provide energy, okay. But the second step becomes very easy, and here what happens? Here the free radical formed might react, okay. The free radical already formed might react with another iodide free radical to form a iodine, which will going to stop the reaction. So these are like a conditions why the HF, HCl and HI will not undergo the Karash effect, okay. So this is very important for your competitive exam, for the upcoming NEET and the CET. The question might appear from this part, okay. So each and every point